All right. Real quick, I am videotaping this recording this for a class I'm doing where I have to demonstrate a strategy that I use with students. So that's why it's recording. So watch your language. Just kidding. Make sure your group right now is numbered off 1 through 6. So everybody in your group has a number 1 through 6. All the numbers have to be covered. All the numbers have to be covered. So if you have 4 people, then somebody's got to be 5 and 6.
I'm 1 and 10.
No, he's 1 and 2.
Okay. It should not take this long to count to 6.
Sorry, just
Number 5.
it's worked out.
Oh my gosh, are we still counting to 6?
No, we're good.
All right, here we go. Let's stop. So here's what we're going to do. First of all, we're going to roll the dice to see who gets to explain your board. The number will decide who explains it. The next group, we're going to do something we haven't done before. Remember, we did something not too long ago, and I can't remember what it was you
We
had
had
to
to
do.
summarize what the group was.
That's right, you had to summarize. Exactly. We're not going to do that, but it's similar. It's also another way of practicing your listening skills, your critical conversation skills. So we're trying to teach you, we're trying to get better at having this conversation where we evaluate each other's work and what have you. So today, what you're going to do is I'm going to roll the dice. So let's say these guys go first. In fact, these guys are going first. Whoever rolled the dice is going to explain their board, and they're done. Now, the next group, I'm going to roll a die. That person is responsible for a like and a wonder. So you have to tell me something that they said about their board that you like, that you agree with, that you maybe hadn't thought of. You need to highlight something and basically compliment it and say, and by the way, your compliment can be, we agree with you. That makes that, I like that you said da-da-da. Or you could say, never thought of that. I like how you pointed out. You get the idea? But then you have to come up with a wonder. You have to say, you have to extend it. Now it could be you use your wonder to point out a mistake they made. I wonder why you didn't do a white ball or whatever. I don't know. You're looking for something they might have left out or something maybe that they did, but they didn't explain it when they explained their boards. So your wonder is maybe a criticism. It might be an honest to goodness question. It might be something that they weren't even supposed to do, but you want to ask them about it. So my point is, you're going to compliment something and kind of, for lack of a better way to say it, show you were listening, but then you're going to come back with a way to extend their work. Does that make sense? Everybody with me? All right, let's see how this goes. So over here, your number 5 can explain the board.
Our claim was the white light was better than the red light in doing photosynthesis. And our evidence is that by 10 minutes, all of the discs were floating with the white light, and none of the discs were floating with the red light after 10 minutes. I don't think that we should trust our data because we didn't measure the water very good, and the light was different distances from the water.
All right. Going to this group. Eli, I love that the die picked you because I heard you say, I'm going to do the writing so I don't have to talk. And then the dang die picked you. This group, likes and wonders from number 1.
I don't know.
Boy, you have to do this. So, something they said that you could agree with, or that you hadn't thought of, or that you.
Well, we only did like one light, didn't we? So like, I can't really agree with like.
Fair, I got
The
you.
white light was better.
You're first. I'm going to help you a little bit. I'm not gonna help everybody all the way around, so don't everybody go, I don't know. But, because you're the first one to have to do this, did you hear them say that one of the reasons they don't trust their data is they didn't put the light the same distance from the water? Is that a good reason to question their data?
Probably.
So you could say, I like how you considered the effect that distance might have had. We hadn't really thought about that. You see where I'm going with this? That would be a one way to go with the like. What wonder might you have? What question might you have about their work? You just told me you only did one bulb. They just told you that white made more photosynthesis than red. In fact, white had would you say all of them were done by 10 and red had none by 10?
Yeah.
So like, way better, right? So just based on that, Sarah, what question might you have? What might you wonder about? You gotta get this one.
Okay, well, I kind of want to know why they didn't put the light at the same distance.
Nice, good question. You're gonna answer, go ahead and answer.
Because we did those two experiments on 2 different days, so you know where to put it.
Didn't really think about it?
Yeah.
Fair, that's reasonable. These are things we look back and go, maybe we should have put that in the procedures, right? We should have said something about how far away. That, good, well done, I can live with that. We're starting to see how this is gonna work? All right, your group, board, gonna get explained by one again, just kidding, 4.
Our claim was that the white light was better at making the spinaches float than the green light using photosynthesis. Our evidence was that the white light had all 10 discs floating by 13 minutes, and the green bulb had all 10 by 23 minutes. And our reasoning is everything was kept the same, but the color of the light and the other group that had the green bulb had similar data.
Okay. Your group. 5. Likes and wonders.
I liked how you guys put the total amount of time that it took for the green bulb to get all 10 discs, because we actually didn't get all 10 discs floating. And I wonder why there isn't much to wonder about. You know, it's like pretty straightforward.
But if you had to come up with something to wonder about,
Am I allowed to add it about ours?
you can wonder about theirs in light of what you know from yours. Like, let me just say, I like your that you just did a second ago. I thought was gonna be terrible when you started, because you said, I like how you said how long it took. Well, no kidding, that's what the lab was. But then you said, because we never even made it that far, and that was a good light. That turned into a really good one.
Mm-hmm.
So in that way, if you have to wonder, because when we did it, absolutely, that's a great way to go.
I wondered how close you had your bulb to the light, or your light to
The bulb was really close to the light.
the light to the beaker.
Got it. How far your bulb was from your beaker. Got it. Good one. Good question. Don't everybody start throwing that one on there. Everybody's gonna say, oh, how far your bulb was from your beaker. Like, you can't use that one again. But that's a good one. Is there a reason you asked that question?
Because we thought ours was pretty close, but nothing really happened.
All right. Got it. Anybody? Do you know how far away you were?
I don't know exactly, we just kind of eyeballed it,
Okay.
both the same distance,
Well, it was the same distance both times?
pretty much.
That's worth mentioning. Okay, all right. This group, explain it, number 6.
claimed that the white light was more effective at doing the lab than the green light. This was because when we were using the white light, all the leaves rose to the top, and when we used the green one, that didn't really happen. So, our reasoning, you can trust our data because the other group had similar data to us. Because like, all their white ones were floating, and then it took a long time for their green ones to start floating.
Okay. I'll leave it to them. 2.
I'm wondering the light, you said?
Yep, something you like or agree with.
I agree with like the white light is better because that's what we got to. Our like the white light was better for ours. Like, wonder, how far was? Oh wait, no, it can't be that. What did you guys do wrong for the green? Like, you didn't get any,
We don't know.
or like what was the procedure for it? Because we also got nothing for our second one.
We took out, yeah, it was the same thing as the white one, except for the light was different. So like, we made this illusion, and then we put the leaves in.
We know, we know the procedure, like, but it's a fair question, did you do something differently? I might tag out of that, why did you stop at 11 minutes?
Well, because we ran out of space writing, we actually ended at 25.
27.
Oh, 27.
Okay, got it. For me, you didn't need to actually write the data on there,
Oh, well.
but when I saw your data, I thought you went 11 minutes and quit. I had a group yesterday, at least 2 groups yesterday, that got to 10 or 11 minutes, and they're like, nothing's happening, it's broke. I had one group that got to 7 minutes with their green light, and went, it's broke, and they threw everything away and started over. I'm like, why are you starting over? Little did they know it was gonna take 23 minutes for the first one to float or whatever, right? Like, I knew, but they didn't know. And so, I was like, why did you quit at 11 minutes? You didn't, you went 27 minutes, you still never got it.
Yeah.
Fair enough, got it. Good question. Now, can I point out that forcing you to ask a question like that led us to that information, right? You weren't gonna share, had we not asked, you weren't gonna tell us that you went 27 minutes and they went 25. Agreed?
Yeah.
So by asking these questions to get more information from each other, we're finding out how bad the green light seems to have been. Agreed? So this is what we're trying to get out of this. This is the conversation we're trying to get. All right, you guys. 6.
Our claim was blue light is the best, like most effective.
Wait, I'm sorry, I didn't hear you. Blue?
Yeah, blue light was the most effective.
Okay.
Our reasoning was, okay, white light was better? Yeah, I think we wrote it wrong.
Our original claim before the evidence was, blue light was better, but after we got the evidence of white light.
Keep going.
Our white light had like higher numbers like the whole time, and blue had like 0 the whole time. Our reasoning is the data is not reliable, not matched with the simulation. Without data, the white bulb is better.
I think they made your job easy. 4.
Our group agrees with you because our blue light did not work.
How long did you actually spend on the blue light?
So, at 24 minutes, we had 6 floating discs for the blue light. And then we ran out of time. So that's as far as we
Okay, let me jump in here real quick though. I think, no, let me practice. I wonder if at the very top of your board where you said blue light is best, and you called that a claim, I wonder if you meant that was your hypothesis.
Yeah, that was.
So do we all understand the difference between claims and hypotheses? Hypothesis is what you guess before we do the lab. Claim is what you know or what you're saying you've learned from the lab. So now you've done the lab, you've got data, and you make a claim. Does that make sense? All right. You said something else I wanted to ask about. Taylor, tell me again what you said about your reasoning.
The data is not reliable.
Because?
I don't know.
Julio, so we let it sit in the blue light in that actual room without darkness for a little bit as we were setting up. That's especially for the white light, we got 4 in 1 minute because they were already floating.
They were floating before you started. So you got, in both of your trials, you had some things you questioned. The only thing I would say about the blue light, if you let it be in the classroom light, that would give it more light, which we would have expected to make it float sooner, right? So, Tabor, thanks to Gibson for bailing you out tremendously. That's not okay. To have no clue what's on your board or what's going on is not acceptable. Like, that's why I told you for 3 days, know what the heck your group is doing, know what's going on. So if you have to explain it, you can explain it. It's not okay to not know what you're talking about. Okay. Gibby, thanks for bailing that out. Next group. Sit. 3.
Alright, our claim is that the white light is more efficient than the blue light for performing photosynthesis. For the white light, we had all the discs floating at 11 minutes, and for the blue light, we couldn't even get all the discs floating. All the white discs started floating at 5 minutes, and all of the blue discs started floating at 9 minutes. And then for our reasoning, it may not be totally accurate because in the simulation, blue worked much faster than the white did. So we're not exactly sure if that's true, if our data is what actually would happen. Does that make sense?
Thinking weird. Let's see if they do. Number 3, likes and wonders.
We agree that your white light was more efficient in photosynthesis. And I wonder.
Let's start with your like for just a second. You agree that their white light was better than blue?
No, their white light was more efficient in photosynthesis.
Than blue. Their claim is that white was more efficient than blue. Right? You're agreeing with that claim?
Yeah.
But you did white and red. No. Wait, now wait a minute. This can be saved. That's not a terrible comment, but I wanna build on it. Let's think about how do we say, what are you really trying to say? So why would you agree that white's better than blue when you didn't do a blue?
Because all their discs floated at the same amount of time.
Okay, I agree. So now you're saying, I agree, you know your numbers. Like their data says that, right? Your claim, I agree, it makes sense. I like how your claim is supported by your data, right? That's fine. What else could we say by this point? What else could we say about the white light if you're in Carter's situation?
Oh wait. You could just say that the white light's better result of any colored light, so.
Oh, it makes sense you would say white's better than blue because every single group has picked white over the colored light, right? So that makes sense. That follows with everybody else's data. That makes good sense. Now, what do you still wonder about?
I don't know, I didn't really have anything wrong.
Doesn't have to be wrong.
How many discs did you get floating when you were at the top?
For blue,
Yeah.
I think we had like 7, yeah, and it got to like 18 minutes, and we had to pack up for class, so it was great.
So you got to 7 in 18 minutes, but you had your first one at, what'd you say, 5?
No, that was for white.
9. You did your first blue one at 9. Who else did blue? How long did it take your first one to float? 10? Okay. Interesting. That was good. That was a good save, right? Another question I might have asked. No. So first of all, let's talk a little bit about the likes and wonders activity thing we just did. You got better at it. You picked it up pretty quickly. It's a little awkward and it's cheesy, and I'll tell you, for a while it was a cool thing to do in like teacher circles when your principal would come like observe you. They would write you a note that said, I like this and I wonder about this, and every single note they sent us was like and wonder, like and wonder. Like in the real world you wouldn't say I wonder every single time. But can you see how it might be a good starter? Let's say you guys screwed up, or I see something I think you screwed up. Can you see where it might be a good starter to say, I see why you picked the white bulb, that makes a lot of sense. But I wonder about the why did you do this? You see how that's a good setup for a conversation? You see how starting the conversation with something that they did right makes it a little easier to hear when you're going to tell them about the thing you think they did wrong? You see where I'm coming from? Now, like I said, if everybody uses that every single time and says, I like this, but I wonder about this every single time, they're going to know what you're doing and it's going to sound super cheesy, right? So you wouldn't want to do it like that. As you get better at it though, you start with something that makes sense on their board, right? And then you lead to something that doesn't necessarily make sense. You get how we use that? All right. What question could we still answer though for the whole, about all of this work? And I'll give you a hint. These are the results you just gave me. Well, let back up. Maybe say it different. Let me start simpler. What is a claim that we can make as a group?
White's the most effective light.
White was the most effective light for producing photosynthesis in these leaf plants. Agreed?
Yeah.
Good. What's the next question?
Why was white the best light?
Okay. That's a good question. Why might be a tough one for us to answer because we didn't do a lab about why. But it's a good question. What did we do a lab about that we might be able to answer? What's the next question we might be able to answer from this lab?
Why is their data so much different than like the lab online?
Okay. Once again, why is tricky, right? there's a question on this board begging to be asked that we can answer from this data. Lamar?
Why does one group have the most effective, but the rest of us are?
They did it, I'm sorry. They did say this, so I wrote it on the board, but then they changed it to this. So this was their hypothesis, so we can actually take it off. Thank you for pointing it out. I was leaving it there until somebody pointed it out. That's not what you ultimately said this, right? Okay? And once again, I want you to get away from why questions. Think about data questions. Think about questions our data can answer.
What's the worst light?
Oh, what's the worst light? Or even by extension, how do the colored lights compare to each other? Right? Figure it out. Talking one at a time, don't just all start shouting. But one at a time, I want to answer that question. White's best, okay? White's on top. What about the other colors?
Green's the worst. Just cause it took like the longest out of every other group to try and get them to float. And we didn't even get a single one to float after 27 minutes. And their group, it took them 23 to get just one.
Oh, 23 got.
Oh.
But it took them 13 minutes to get one to float.
When did you guys get your first for blue?
9 minutes.
How about you guys?
I think it was like 9 or 10 minutes. For red.
Did you guys get all of them to float?
Yeah, like 21 minutes. Or 9 or 21.
And both of you guys ran out of time, right?
Yeah.
I feel like green's the worst.
Yeah.
But it's hard to tell which one goes because they didn't have time to get to finish.
Well, how many minutes did you guys have until you had to stop?
25.
How many were floating?
It's like one. We had, no, we exploded after 24.
Are we ready to make a claim?
Yes.
Yes.
Who wants to make it?
No.
You got that console?
Well, do we really know if red's better than blue or blue's better than red? Cause we said that green's the worst, but we don't know if.
Why does red and blue matter if white's obviously the best light?
Yeah, but we're trying to figure out.
Trying to figure it out now.
Like, what's the?
Do you guys get all of your floating in 21 minutes? Is that what
We got 9 floating in 21 minutes.
Wait, so Carter,
We only had like 6, and then theirs had 6 at 24. So wouldn't that put red better than blue?
it would.
It's difficult because there's only one group that did red, and the rest of them have 2. So there's nothing really to compare to.
True, it is. That does make it more difficult. If we had more data with red, it would help. But we don't. And we do have some data with red. So, I'll say this. We can only make a claim supported by our actual data, correct? One data point or one set of data is not exactly a preponderance, right? It's not exactly enough to say, oh, we'll bet our life on this. But based on the data we have, red floated your first one at what?
9 minutes.
And all of them by?
We didn't get all of them. We got 9 by 21 minutes.
Okay? Blues, tell me again. First one at 10, and all of them by 6 at 24, you said. First one at, and all of them by,
We didn't have all of them.
how many by when? You had 18 minutes?
18, and we had 6.
Okay, so like, I wrote down the data, right? I'm gonna write down the numbers we have so we can compare them. And all we can do, I mean, I know this is not the most perfect way to do it, but all we can do is base it on the numbers, right? It looks to me like this is worse than that. This is kind of identical. Your first one floated at the same time. 6 at 18 and 9 at 21 could be the exact same thing, right? If you went 3 more minutes, you might have got 3 more discs. So if you call these two a tie and this one worse, which one do you have to say is worse?
Blue.
You have to say blue's worse than red. Agreed? So if we're gonna finish this thing, we're gonna say white is better than blue, is better than red, is better than green.
Yeah.
Agreed? Alright, that was pretty solid. Questions?
Didn't you say that red was better than blue?
Yes. Sorry. But, thank you for not just letting me say that. You said WRBG. Good? All right. Please clear your boards and head back to your seats. We're not going to get it done. Hey, everyone.
Yeah, that's it, that's it. That's it. That's it, yeah, that's
Guys, I think we did good.
Where's my pen?
I don't have it. I don't have no pen. Dude, just let me try it out. Dude, just let me try it out. Don't take stuff from my hand.
Yeah, your phone's still recording.
Yep.
Only 24.